Hi, everybody. And I am Marina, the Trader Chick. And let me just kind of clean up. Zoom has a lot of windows that they open. That kind of takes over your entire entire screen. Okay, so before I go into my presentation, I just wanted to say hello. And I see that there is a full room today, and this is super, super fun. I'm so excited to be here. I would love to know, where are you guys from? As Fausto said, I am in Spain. I live in Barcelona, Spain. Where is everybody else coming to me to listen to us today? Can you guys just put that in the chat box? I can see right here, there's a chat box. So go ahead, put it in. Let me know where you guys, oh, Gerard, you're from New York. I grew up in New York. Gerard, which part of New York? John, you are from Phoenix, Arizona. I love Phoenix. Very, very hot in the summers. I remember I was there. I don't remember. I think it was July, and it was like 125 degrees. It was absolutely insane. Ricky, you are from Krakow. No, Curacao. Wait. I think I know. Is that a Caribbean island? I'm sorry if that's ignorant of me. Um, where is Curacao? Um, Girard Garden City, New York. Oh, okay. That's more like Long Island, right? John, you are from Arkansas. Wonderful. Oh, there's so many people. I love it. Roy from Vegas. God, I haven't been to Vegas in like 25 years or more. I think it's completely different now. Jerry from Edmonton. Very cool. Is it nice weather there right now? How is the weather in Edmonton? It's cold. There's a lot of Canadians here because it's cold there. Um, Rick is from Pollock Pines, California. Okay. Anne is from London. I actually lived in London. I lived in London a very long time ago, but I did live there. I studied there for a semester. It was amazing. It was wonderful because it was a drought. So I got away with not being rained on. KP, I'm not sure what your name is, but Jackson Heights. So I will explain in a little bit, but I am actually a refugee from the Soviet Union. And when we arrived to the United States, we lived in Jackson Heights. So Jackson Heights has a very big part of my heart because obviously it was the first place that we moved to. Um, Ricky, I think you said right. Oh, hang on just one second here. Okay, John is from Houston. Nice. Okay, I don't think I've ever been to Houston. Deborah is from Connecticut in Mississippi on the Gulf of America now. Okay, cool. Anthony from Los Angeles. How are things in LA? I would imagine and hope that you were not one of the people affected because I can't even imagine what's going on there. I truly hope that things turn around and people find a way to make, I don't know, to make a new life, to make new homes. Damien, you are from Washington, D.C. My brother lives there, Bethesda and Arlington. I used to visit there very often. Cocao is Venezuela. You know, it's funny. I actually wanted to say Venezuela, but I wasn't 100% sure because you can't technically be online like this in Venezuela. I'm not sure. My right-hand man is Venezuelan, lives in Venezuela. John from Gutentag, South Africa, and William from Omaha. Wow, we have such a beautiful, diverse crowd covering half of the globe. I love it. I love to see that because why? Trading is exactly that, right? The reason why trading is magnificent is we could do it from anywhere in the world. And just like Fausto said, me and my family, I should say, not just me, massive travelers. I mean, we travel like 3 or 4 months out of the year easily. And I do need to work once in a while. I'm not a trust fund baby. So trading, you could do it from anywhere in the world. That is the beauty of trading. So this is me. I am Marina, the Trader Chick. I'm just going to turn the video off because I think it's a little bit distracting. And I have a confession for you guys. I have a confession. I am a scalper. I don't know if you guys know what scalping is because I know Fausto was just talking a little bit about swing trading, and then there's also day trading, and then there is scalping. So scalping, if you don't know what it is day trading, but it's quick, right? It's win in and out of trades. Usually my trades do not last longer than 3 to 5 minutes. At one point, when the volatility is low, but the volatility right now, the volume is crazy high, right? I would permit to be more in like 15 minutes, but on a whole, I don't hold for longer than up to 5 minutes. And I'm going to let you know how I stumbled upon scalping, because people just don't, it just doesn't happen, right? And honestly, I didn't even know scalping was a thing until I started to talk about how I was winning and how I was hitting profits. And somebody mentioned to me, they're like, oh, you're a scalper. So what exactly is scalping? Like I mentioned earlier, it's going in and out of trades really quickly. But the reason I stumbled upon it was because I was in this academy, and it was day trading. You were in and out, and they were really going for like those big romantic targets, and it never worked for me. So the thing is, when you're going for the bigger targets, which look really good on paper, but the reality is two things. One is the risk has to be quite big, right? That's the reason why you're going for a big target. You also need to have a bigger risk as well. And on top of that, I couldn't sit through the long targets. I was just in constant analysis paralysis. I was constantly stressed out. So, and I wasn't doing well. I was constantly I just wasn't doing well. I couldn't hold for the target. Then I was letting myself go too long for the stop losses. I'm sure you guys have all been there, right? And I just my whole confidence level was just going down the drain. I mean, it was just terrible until I ended up losing a lot of money. So I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I ended up losing a lot of money. This was over, I don't know, almost like 8, 9 years ago at this point. And I just felt completely defeated. And I just said, I can't do this anymore. I quit. I ended up leaving, but I could never stay away because I knew that I could do this. So what I decided to do was I went back to the markets. I stripped my markets of all of the indicators. I had 3 different charts. I went down to one chart. I made it very simplistic, and that was the beauty of it. And then what I ended up doing was, instead of going for those really big targets, I decided to start to go for the smaller, quicker targets, mainly because when I started to hit those small targets, all of a sudden, it wasn't even about the money that I was making, but more of that I was putting confidence into my emotional bank, right? If you don't have confidence, it doesn't matter how big the targets are and how fantastic all of this is if you're not confident in what you are doing. So when I started to hit those smaller targets, all of a sudden my confidence was growing, and I was really enjoying doing it. And what I realized is I could still go for the smaller targets, but just put on more contracts. So my main instrument that I trade is the E-minis. It's the S&P 500 on the futures market, the ES mini. And what I was doing before with these big targets was going for like 4, 5, 8 points, really big points. But I decided to just go for 1 point. 1 point is $50. So as I started to hit those targets, my confidence was growing. And what I started to do was, instead of going for bigger targets, I started to put in more contracts. So even though I was still going for that 1 point, $50, but now I had 10 contracts. That means now I had $500 that I was winning versus the $50, but I was still hitting those smaller targets. And that's how I started to talk about scalping. I mean, talk about what I was doing. And somebody said to me, they're like, you're a scalper. And I had no clue, right, what that was. So as I mentioned, scalping to me came, and I think the majority of our big lessons or our big breakthroughs, like I'm going to have here, usually happen through massive losses and big time lessons, right? And even though I ended up losing all this money, did I stop? No. What happened was I kept on trading, revenge trading, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And that's when I literally had a breakdown, because at that point I was trading or trying to trade for like 2 years. I was constantly losing. It was just horrible, horrible. And I had literally a breakdown. And what happens when you have a breakdown? Usually you come to a fork in the road, right? You either have to make a decision of quitting, leaving for good, whatever it is that is giving you that breakdown, or you have a breakthrough. And that's exactly what happened to me. So it's funny. I don't know if you guys had ever seen this movie, Nacho Libre, one of my family's favorite movies. Really, really funny, family-friendly movie. Anyways, if you don't know what it is about, so Nacho, this character, he wants to be a luchador. He wants to be a wrestler. So in Mexico, it's lucha libre. That's their wrestling, and he really wants to be this luchador, and he's just horrible at it. And there's this one scene in the movie where he's standing in church and he's praying and he's saying, Lord, why did you give me this massive passion to be this warrior, to be a luchador, and made me so terrible at it? And I just in that moment felt like me and him just had such a connection, because I was like, why do I have this massive passion to be a trader, and I feel that I am just not good? And of course, in the movie, everything changed. He won the biggest match and became, the hero of his town. I'm obviously not like this mega super crazy successful hero of my town, but I began to become a profitable, consistent trader, and it became my livelihood. And that's really what I want to talk to you guys about, was my breakthrough. And what that breakthrough actually happened was, like I mentioned, I actually did quit. I walked away for several months, but I couldn't stay away. So I decided when I came back, as I've mentioned earlier, I got rid of all of my charts. I went down to went down to only one chart. I used to have 10 indicators, and I eliminated them all, because interestingly enough, we have this perception of indicators, right? We can watch one guru or another trader, and they have their indicators that they're using. Just because those indicators work for them does not mean that they work for us, right? So what happened was, I had all these different indicators, and they were just not helping me. I was in constant analysis paralysis. I was always stressed out. And once I got rid of them, I started to just apply the ones that work for me. And now I'm down to 2 indicators. But what also happened is that I realized I was never taught the basics. And I would say the majority of the problems we have, even though we could be looking at the markets and listening to other people and looking at alerts and looking at, these scanners, if you don't know what you are looking at, it does not matter. I will tell you, and I will be so honest with you guys right now, and I need to be on film for this. If you guys do not know what you are looking at, you are never going to win. So you could be in as many chat rooms and buy as many alerts as you want, but if you don't understand the basics, if you do not understand why they are seeing what they are seeing, you cannot apply it to yourself. I was in all these chat rooms, and I was not understanding what was going on. And they were saying, oh, here's a trade. And I didn't understand why, but I was jumping in, I was chasing the trades, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why, but if they were saying it, then they must have been right. And of course, I was then losing. By the time I entered that trade, it was already too late. That's the other thing with alerts, guys. By the time you get the alert, it's usually too late. Okay, I'm just going to break it to you, the real facts. Okay, if you're doing alerts, chances are by the time that alert is out, it's too late. So you need to be the one in charge of your own what is going on in front of you. Okay, so anyways, and then I used to ask all these questions, because no one tells us the basics, right? Like people were talking about what is divergence, like they were mentioning divergences, or they were mentioning about reversal patterns and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, I was like, can you please explain a little bit more? What does this mean? Or can you explain why you just did that? And I was either ignored or treated as if I was born with this information. And that's not the case, right? None of us are born with any kind of information. We learn everything. And so what I decided was, after I quit, I came back. As I said, I went down to one chart and 2 indicators. And what I started to do was devote my time to the basics. My wounds were too raw, so I was just studying and practicing in simulation with the basics until I truly, truly understood them, and until it became like a language. And I literally became fluent in the market language. So today we're going to be talking about understanding what the market is telling us about why small profits can lead you to the big targets, and because I can't handle the stress, why scalping is could be really great for some people. Okay, before we go into it, I just want to do a really quick intro. What's really important to understand, guys, is that we all bring ourselves to the charts. I don't care if you're going to be buying these AI scanner stuff. By the way, AI is great, but I don't believe it's going to fully work on your charts unless you understand what it is going to be doing for you, which brings it back to understanding what it is there. If you want to write a book and use AI, if you don't know how to write at all or even read what it's telling you, you're not going to be able to write that book, right? So if you're going to have AI do anything for you and you don't know how to read your charts, it doesn't matter what it's going to be telling you, right? AI right now is a very sexy word, but if you don't understand how to utilize it properly, it's not going to work for you. Okay, so here I am. As I mentioned before, I am an expat living in Barcelona, and how Fausto explained earlier, I've been expat now for 22 years. Before that, me and my family lived in Central America, Costa Rica, and Guatemala for almost 20 years. And so now we live here. Being an expat has been the greatest experience of my life and for my kids. The other thing is, I was a fitness instructor before I became a day trader. And why does that matter? Because a lot of people have this misconception that you have to come from a math background, engineering background, finance, economics, and that's not true. I was a fitness instructor, literally. That's what I did before I became into this. And I've also am and still am a travel writer. I have a travel site called Travel Experta, and I am trilingual. Why is this important? So, as I mentioned before, that I started to look at the market as if though it has its own language, and I became fluent in it. So like I mentioned before, am a Soviet Union refugee. When I was 6 years old, we made the pilgrimage and moved to the United States. So Russian was my mother tongue, but English became my real language because I wasn't learning a new language as much as I was learning a language at 6 years old. However, I learned Spanish in my late 20s. And if any of you here are bilingual or trilingual, you know that learning a second, third language, it takes commitment, discipline, and a whole lot of practice, right? And that's exactly one thing I started to recognize was when I started to really focus on what the charts was telling me is that it's a language. And when I started to read it and understand it, I recognized that I was able to put how I learned Spanish into the charts. And whenever I mention this, people have these massive aha moments and literally changes their style. And the coolest thing about trading, we could do it from anywhere. That's the beauty of it. Before COVID, I know COVID is now 5 years ago. Isn't that insane? But I used to do quite a lot of in-person shows, especially with the Money Show and the Traders Expo. And now I truly love being on shows like Fausto is holding right now. I really appreciate that so much because you could reach so many more people, right? So today I really want to talk to you guys about how scalping works, but it all begins with the basics. So hang on here. I think there are some questions here. Scalping is actually snipping for profits. Maybe so, but it's about the profits. A lot of people don't even have profits. So when scalping came into my life, I started to get those profits, and that changed everything for me. All right. So let's talk about what are the basics of trading. Before I get deep into it, this entire presentation I have it for you as a worksheet so that you guys could download it for free. Go to makingofaDaytrader.com. You could download it for free and follow along. And also, when you get the replay, you could then go at your own pace. All right. Go to again. Let me just, oops, hang on one second. Oh, hang on. MakingofaDaytrader.com. So before anything, it is so important for you guys to understand you cannot be a professional trader if you do not have the proper vehicle, which is the chart platform. All right, you need to have a good chart platform. I know that the person before me was talking about Trading View, Metastock. There's so many fantastic trading platforms, but you need it. You cannot be a Formula One driver in a minivan, right? That's ludicrous. You cannot be a professional trader or swing trader if you're not, if you're going to be, playing on rinky dink stuff like Robinhood. So I use only two indicators. I use EMA lines, and my favorite is the MACDs. The MACDs for me are the best indicators because to me they are the least lagging indicator. But you guys have to feel out to see what is your indicator, what works best for you. All right, so let's begin with these important understandings. The trend, right? The market. So there are three trends. We technically know that there are two trends, right? We know that there's an upward trend and a downward trend. However, in my opinion, and I actually know for a fact that the majority of people feel the same, the most important trend is the sideways trend. Why? Because I can guarantee if you guys go right now and look at your logging of all your trades, the majority of the money you end up losing is during those consolidation areas, is during those sideways trends, because normally they are like the trader's worst enemy. Okay, this is called the chop, the indecision area, the exhaustion pattern, the consolidation, the slowdown, the channel. I don't care what you call it, you need to stay away from it. And once you understand how to spot it, not only are you going to be able to stay away from those areas, but you're also going to understand when they break through or transition to start taking those truly profitable trades. Okay, so understanding the trending markets is going to be what makes all the difference. So just a really quick understanding: upward trend, each pivot is higher than the next. This is the bull market. This is the market going up. This is when you go long. All right, this is when you are going long. This is when you are buying in the market. What does that mean? Literally means you are entering at a low price point, exiting at a higher price point, and taking the profit in between. That's it. There is no special anything other than that. You see that the technical analysis is telling you to enter here and you exit high. That is buying. Now, downward trend. Again, shorting the market. And right now, because it is a bloodbath, is crazy for day trading. It's definitely good to short the market. Downward trend. Each pivot is lower than the other. What does this mean? This is when you short the market. What does that mean, guys? It means that you are selling. You are entering, oops, hang on a second. You are entering at a high price point, exiting at a low price point, and you're taking the profit in between. That's it. Do not think any deeper into it. That is exactly what this is. Entering high, exiting low, take the profit in between. It's the bear market, market going down. Now, let's talk about those consolidation areas, the transition areas. Like I said before, they are the trader's worst enemy. And once we know how to spot them and avoid them, you guys will be able to truly understand what is happening in the market. So, consolidation areas, consolidating markets. What is this? It is the channel. It is when the market is bouncing in between 2 points. There is no real movement here, right? It's just bouncing in between 2 points. So, why is this area the worst possible place, and why the majority of day traders end up losing all their money? Why? It's actually quite simple. It's because it is an emotional area. So the thing is with day trading is that it's very emotionally charged, right? And what happens with a lot of traders, and I would say 99% of them, that's why they fail, is they come up with stories that they tell themselves, right? So what is a story? So a good example of a story is, for instance, you just met somebody new, a new friend, right? And you really like them, you exchange phone numbers, and they say to you, hey, I'm having a party in 2 days. I would love for you to come. I'm going to call you tomorrow and give you the directions. And you're like, okay, cool. You go home. The next day comes around, no phone call. What starts to happen in your head? Stories, right? Did I say something that they didn't like? Maybe they met somebody who said something about me. Um, all these stories. And funny enough, they're always negative, right? It's not like we don't come up with other stories that could be beneficial to us, right? So those are stories until that person calls you 2 days later and they tell you, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. My phone fell into the toilet. I lost everybody's number. It took me forever to get the contacts back, right? That was the truth, but we damaged ourselves with the stories. It's the same thing when we start to notice these consolidation areas, right? Why? So when we see these areas, a trader who believes in the trend is your friend, they will be telling themselves, you know what, the market's been going up all day. I'm going to go long. Then you have the contrarian trader. Every time they see something like this, they're going to say to themselves, you know what, the market's been going up all day. It's got to correct. I'm going to short the market, right? Those are stories. But the reality is, the market is just consolidating. There is nothing else to it. The only thing you as a pro trader should say is, you know what? I'm going to wait this out. I don't have a clue what the market is going to do. And that is what the pro trader does. There is no story. The only story is what's in front of them. And that is it's consolidating. It's bouncing back and forth. I don't want to touch this market. I'm going to be smart. I'm going to sit on my hands. That's when you become the real pro trader. And this happens all the time. Okay. And when you start to spot it and understand it, that's when you start to make the real money. Now, let's understand these areas because the market respects them. And if you don't understand, cannot spot them, you cannot respect them as well. And you need to respect what the market is respecting. What are these areas? They are the support and resistance area. And they are so important. So I want to just give this example. Imagine back to the Formula One example. Formula One drivers, it is a known thing that during racing season, 25% of them will either get hurt, go into get a really serious accident, or even more horribly, have a fatality. 25%. 99% of traders fail, right? Yet the 25% Formula One driver prepares themselves. They have helmets, they have fireproof uniforms. When they sit into that car, they have like 2 or 3 seat belts, right? We as traders need to protect ourselves as well. Support and resistance areas are those seat belts. And we need to understand them and we need to use them like that. So, what exactly are support and resistance areas? So, let's begin with what's a resistance area? Resistance area is when the market is going up and then boom, it starts to hit a ceiling. And if it hits the ceiling 3 or 4 more times, you have to draw that area in because the market is respecting it. And you don't want to be pretending that you're going to beat the market and saying that it's going to break and continue. You don't know that, but you do know that there is an area and you need to draw that in. So, resistance area, the ceiling of the market. What is a support area? It's the opposite. It's when the market is going down and all of a sudden, boom, it starts to hit those areas. Just like Fausto was saying, there's a lot of support going on in a lot of the stocks right now and equities. Support area, it is hitting the same area over and over and over again. And you need to understand it, draw it in. I personally always say draw it in because you don't want to have a mental idea of it. Because when you're in that live market, you need to look to the left and see what is there. Okay, so draw in that support area. These areas are so important. They tell us where the market is respecting. And chances are it's not going to break through it when you think it's going to happen. So when it does finally break through, you are ready or bounces off and transitions. Okay, then we have the channel, which is supported and resisted on both sides, right? The channel. Look at this ugly, choppy behavior. Do you really want to be in a market that is showing you this? I don't want my hard-earned money into that. Excuse me. I don't want to put my money into that. Absolutely not. Okay. So, how do we recognize these areas before they become really, really obvious to us? Because a lot of times we will end up losing in the very beginning, The problem is that people continue to put the money in, but you could also avoid getting into those areas in the very beginning. And this is what I'm going to show you right now. Those areas are divergences and reversal patterns. I call them the trader's map to shift in direction. I call them the golden symbols of trading because to me, this is the number one way that I trade. And the coolest thing of all is they are so simple to spot. Reversal patterns, double tops, triple tops, double bottoms, triple bottoms, head and shoulders. These are amazing and they are simple to spot. And once you spot them, then you could understand what is going on. So, is it an indication? Is it 100% telling you that it's going to reverse? No. It is an indication that something's about to happen. And chances are it can reverse, but you don't know exactly when until it does. And you are ready when it does. Okay. So what is a divergence? To me, divergence is the holy of the holiest grails for trading. So as you can see here, the price action is going up while my MACDs is going the opposite direction. What does it tell me? It's not telling me that it's going to reverse. It's not going to tell me that. But what it is telling me is that the market is losing its strength. And the last thing I ever want to be in is in a market that is losing its strength, right? We want to sit on our money and put it in where the market is super strong. And divergence shows you this. Now, when you have a double bottom, triple bottom starting, that is also the beginning of a support area, right? Or vice versa, double top, triple top is the beginning of a resistance area. And when you have divergence, I completely stay out. This is just screaming at me that the market is totally slowing down and chances are it is going to reverse, but I don't want to go in until it shows me that reversal. Okay. So I want to put all of this together. Like I mentioned before, I have this entire presentation that you could go at your own pace completely for free. Go to makingofadaytrader.com. Go to makingofadaytrader.com and you will get this presentation for free. If you are by any chance on Google and you can't open it, so you just have to press on the browser area and remove the S from the HTTPS. Okay, so make sure that it's HTTP. Um, I don't know why there's a firewall, but otherwise it's not only thing, it's Google. They just do that. So makingofadaytrader.com. All right, guys, breaking out of areas. Let's put this all together because we all know that breakouts are probably the most powerful trades out there, right? But if you don't know how to spot them, you're going to miss out. So how do we recognize the breakout trades? First and foremost, you need to draw in that support area or the resistance area, whichever is there. So what is a breakout? It is when the market is moving in one direction. In this particular case, it's moving upward. And then all of a sudden, boom, it starts to hit a ceiling, right? And then guess what? It breaks through that ceiling and continues in the same direction going up. That is a breakout. So when you are understanding when this is happening, you have your areas drawn in. And once it breaks in, that's when you could enter. And that is the breakout. And usually when the breakout happens, that means there is a renewed amount of energy in that market in that same direction. And you want to be in it as much as you can. All right. So this is how I spot my breakout trades. I always have my areas drawn in. I am religious about drawing in my areas and understanding divergences. To me, that is my holy grail. And they're free. These indicators are free and you can spot them on any market that you are trading. It does not matter. And then I also look at the MACDs, which is my red dots below. So as you can see here, there is a dashed black line. That dashed black line is the zero line. That means that there is no strength in the market. And as you can tell, there's very little strength in the market until boom, it breaks out. So that's when, and there's no divergence. That is when I am putting in my order waiting and waiting for me to be filled so that I could have that breakout trade. And that is how I do it. Now, I want to talk about another bonus setup. As I mentioned earlier, we want to know when the market shifts direction. I call this trade the initial instant reaction trade. What is it when the market has a new trend? I'm going to give this to you guys in layman terms. So, for example, imagine you want to go jogging. You are so hyped up. You are ready to go jogging, right? You are ready to run. So, here's the thing. When you are ready to go jogging and you're able to put my money on the fact that you'll probably go 1 or 2 miles, right? Because that is when you have the most amount of enthusiasm and energy. However, is it going to be a good idea for me to put that money in when you're already a mile in? Not as much, right? Because you might be getting tired or you might change your mind, whatever happens. So the same goes for new trends. When you have a new shift in direction, you want to be in as early as possible into that new trend because that is when you could get the most amount of energy. Okay. And that is also by having your areas drawn in and understanding what is actually taking place. Okay. So hang on a second. I see that somebody had a question here. Oh, okay. Thanks for putting in the link for me. All right, guys. So here's the thing. We have absolutely everything we need to take action. We have everything we need to take action, right? We have these amazing presentations. There's a bunch of gurus. There's tons of YouTube videos. There are podcasts. There are books. There are live presentations. But at the end of the day, how do you know if you are doing it right? How do you know that you are doing it right? How do you know that you are looking at the market correctly? If you are understanding what the chart is telling you, right? Because all of this is great, but the real question that I get asked all the time is, how do I actually get started? How do I get started? And this is not from beginners only. As a matter of fact, the majority of people that ask me that are seasoned traders. And they ask me, what can I do to turn this around and be profitable consistently? And honestly, like I mentioned from the beginning, it's usually lacking the basics. It is just simply lacking the understanding what the market is telling you and what it is doing. What I like to say is that we put in windows without having any walls, and our windows just keep on crashing, right? Because when you build that wall, the foundation, the windows could stay in there and they could actually have foundation to hold them. That means your decisions are coming from a smart point of view. And usually it's the basics, right? So imagine jumping into the car. Today, when we hop in, it's all about the basics, right? We know where to put, we know the seatbelt, we know how to put our gear shift into first, we know where the clutch is, we know where the accelerator is, we know where the brake is. But I want you to just go back in time. The first time you sat in the passenger seat, you probably were lost and confused, right? Until somebody showed you where all of this is. Now, I want you to go into a real creative area of your mind and imagine just for a second somebody who gets into your car has never been in a car, and you tell them, all right, buckle up, put your seatbelt on, it's going to save your life, right? And they're like, oh my goodness, save my life, buckle up. What are they talking about? When nobody showed them what a seatbelt looked like, how could they possibly know what it looks like, right? So until we are taught the basics, we don't really know what they are, and what we don't have as a foundation. And this was my own personal sad truth. I literally spent over $20,000 on my trainings. Oh my goodness, on chat rooms, alerts, you name it. I spent years struggling because I didn't have that foundation. And every time I was asking, can you please explain to me what is the divergence? Can you please tell me what are you talking about the price action? What do you mean about the support area? Nobody was responding to me. They were either treating it like I was born with that information or fully ignoring me, until I was in those chat rooms and I ended up losing almost $4,000 because I was chasing a trade that somebody mentioned with that understanding. And I felt like a total defeated loser because I was just I couldn't take it anymore. And I ended up quitting. I ended up quitting. But here's the thing, guys, and I can guarantee you, everybody in this room, we are all bit by the trading bug, and it never stops itching, right? It never stops itching. And do you know why? Because deep down inside, we know we can do this. And that is exactly what happened to me. I quit. I walked away. I think it was for like 4 or 5 months, but I was constantly watching others or listening to others. And I kept on saying to myself, I'm like, if they can do this, so can I. So can I. And that is when I came back. And when I came back, as I mentioned earlier, I had 3 charts. I had 3 monitors. I literally donated 2 of my monitors, which were high definition, to my garbage men. And I went down to 1 chart, 2 indicators, and I started to learn the basics. And I got really into the basics, and that changed my life. And a couple of years back, one of my students says to me, he's like, Marina, your teaching philosophy is very similar to Coach John Wooden. And I was like, who's Coach John Wooden? I never heard of the guy before. And of course, I looked him up. And if any of you know who Coach John Wooden is, he was a legendary basketball coach and then went on to being a life coach. Legendary. And his entire teaching and training and coaching philosophy was, when in doubt, get back to the basics. And I mean, this guy was incredible. He had 88 national championships, 10 NCAAs. I mean, he trained his A-star, A-list players. Yet every season, it did not matter how many competitions these guys won, you would start from the basics. How to tie your shoe, how to roll up your sock, how to dribble the ball. Why? Because egos get in the way. And if they're going to run out on that court and forget to tie their shoelace properly, they might sprain their ankle. And it doesn't matter how many national championships they have if they're sitting out on the sidelines, right? So today, just for you guys, special or offer only for the participants that are here live today, my introductory course, Bootcamp for Day Trading. And you can do it on any apparatus, laptops, desktops, phones, tablets, you name it. And all of this is one-time fee of $97. Now, I know that you guys have been here for a long time. Just give me 5 more minutes. I want you guys to be really present. If you're going to be here, please come back right now. And I want you guys to go to your computer, go to your browser, and put in bootcamp for daytrading.com and follow along with me for everything that you guys are going to be getting. Bootcamp for daytrading.com. Let's go there right now. So, what can you get for $97 that brings you the same return on investment? Do you guys like to play golf? I was told the other day that, I think, where is it? In Marin County in California, it's like $675 per person to play golf. Could you imagine? You want to go out to dinners and lunches with your family and friends? Me and my husband had a 24th anniversary yesterday, and we just went out, just the 2 of us, for a small meal and a glass of wine, way more than $97. Okay, just letting you know. So let me break down everything that you guys will be getting. And please go here, bootcampfordaytrading.com, so you could go read along with me right now. Okay, bootcampfordaytrading.com. You guys will get the full simplified day trading package. And I know how complicated it could feel to set up your platform. So I have that covered. I have a 30-minute tutorial setup. Boom, you are up and running. You do not have to worry about the setup. It's all done for you. Then we dive really deep into the market anatomy, understanding the upward trend, sideways trend, downward trend, understanding those reversals and divergences. Because once you understand that, These are going to be the biggest aha moments for you. Then we get into the defensive zone areas, the reversal patterns, the understanding the support and resistance areas, and divergences. Like I said, divergences for me are the most important thing. And if you understand how to spot them, this whole world opens up for you. Okay. And mastering the breakout trade, because once you master that, you've got a massive trade in your artillery, in your toolbox of trades. And we're going to understand how to avoid the fake out breakouts because they happen. And you want to be able to avoid them. And I show you exactly how we will do that. And you'll have unlimited access to the curriculum. This is all valued at $1,600. Okay, all that you are getting here. Here's what some of my students say, and I have students from all over the world because that's the cool thing about trading. You can do it from anywhere in the world. Michelle, best money I'd ever spent. Derek, you're the only mentor that truly checks the work and helps you. Adrian, I'm enjoying the boot camp and learning every day. So let me share something very important with you. Remember how I asked you, how do you know you are doing it right? How do you know that you're doing it right? Who is there being your accountability person that you are asking the questions? So what I did is I have included in that one-time price fee, $97, one entire month, one-on-one mentorship with me, unlimited. You can ask me all your questions. We could do Zoom calls, send me your charts, unlimited, 1 month. I mean, this is priceless in itself. Okay. Having that mentor could be what takes you to that next level in your trading. Okay. And I also have a live trade chat room where it's me, where we talk about all the different things that we are learning and implementing it in the live market with live trades. Okay. All of this valued at $2,600, but for you guys, $97. Now, I want you to take a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot of this and then paste it where you'll be able to go back to it if you can't open it right now. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. Okay, let me remind you what you guys are going to be getting in this $97. Everything in the course. 30 days one-on-one mentorship with me and 30 days live chat. All of this, and we all know it, is worth less than one price of a trade. The average trade is between $200 to $400. You guys definitely, come on. This is less than one trade. It is 10x your return on investment, and then you'll be able to go to 100 of these dinners. But here's a really important thing. Like I mentioned before, the room is full. It is a full house. I'm so grateful that Fausto worked so hard and Rich to bring you guys here together. But I also sell out really fast because $97 is kind of a no-brainer because of my mentorship. I could only take 25 people. So I'm just letting you know, I would definitely get on it. So I want to show you guys here. Oops, hang on a second. Hang on, I just need to move this down. Okay. Go into your browser, bootcampfordaytrading.com, and it will bring you here. Oops, hang on a second. It will bring you here. So bootcampfordaytrading.com. If you are having an issue, remember to just go in here and you'll be able to remove the it's the HTTPS. How do you do that? I forgot now. Yeah. So remove the S if you cannot get to this is the order form. Okay. So as you can see here, one-time payment of $97. You can do two-time payment of $59, but you'll automatically, from the first payment, get all the access right away. All right. So this is the order form right here. And go to bootcampfordaytrading.com right here. And this is everything that you guys will be able to get. So again, take a screenshot of this, paste it somewhere that you will be able to return to, bootcampfordaytrading.com. Okay, there are some questions. Let me see here. John, what is your one chart and two indicators? So Oh, Courtney goes to UCLA. Nice. So I'm sure you still hear a lot about him. He was the legend to this day. So John, I use EMA lines. I use the 52, the 20, the 135, and the MACDs, just the regular MACDs. And I personally trade the E-minis, but the boot camp is for any instrument, any market that you guys are trading. All right, guys, let me know if there's any other questions. I'm happy to answer any more questions. And I'm super excited to see you guys inside the course. And thank you so much, Fausto, for having me. Really, really appreciate this. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hang on just 1 second here. Oops, what's happening? Okay. So, all right. Like I said here, I'm trying to remember how you can go and see where it's kind of strange, right? I know this is in Chrome. It could only be in Chrome that you would have to remove the S from the boot camp. So I think maybe what it is if I copy this and I paste it. No, I guess not. I don't know. So you guys should not have any problems getting in. All right. So go here. 1 second. Oh, I just realized I probably could not even see what I was showing you. All right. Thank you, everybody, so much. It's been a real pleasure. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening or day. I know that for most of you guys, it's still pretty early. It's almost 8 p.m. here. Okay. Um, okay. I have show us something about my so you mean the ES mini trading? Yeah. So what do you guys trade? Why don't you guys tell me what you guys are trading so I could also help you and answer some of your questions. What do you guys trade? Hello, hello, hello. Let me know, what is it that you guys are trading? Is anybody in here trading the E-minis? Is anybody in here trading Amazon, Meta? How about Forex, futures, crypto? What are you guys doing right now? Gold, okay. SPY options. How is that working out for you guys? Ricky, you want to learn how to trade Forex? Okay. What would you like? Let me know. Okay, guys. Well, I think if there's no more questions, then I'm going to say thank you so much and have a great rest of your day and the rest of the week. Thank you.
Marina, that was great.